Afghanistan is a country in South-Central Asia. Steep, rugged mountains cover much of the land. It is an arid and inhospitable place. But Afghanistan's location on a strategic land route between India, Iran, and Central Asia has attracted traders and conquerors throughout its long history. The armies of Alexander the Great and Genghis Khan were followed in modern times by those of the British and the Soviets. The Soviet Union invaded in 1979, but it was forced to withdraw a decade later by the Afghani Mujahideen, a group of guerrilla fighters backed and trained by the United States, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and other countries. The Russians left behind a communist government. But in 1992, Mujahideen guerrillas and other Islamic rebels captured the capital city of Kabul and set up a new government. Still, the killing didn't stop. Over the next few years, rival groups fought each other for control. Civil war spread throughout the country. And a new group arose called the Taliban, a name that means religious student. The Taliban consisted of devout Islamic guerrilla fighters and refugees returning from Pakistan. Many had studied at the madrasas or religious schools on the Pakistani border. Angry that the Mujahideen had failed to fully enforce Islamic law, the Taliban's leaders declared a jihad, a holy struggle against the Mujahideen. By early 1995, the Taliban had seized power in the city of Kandahar in southeastern Afghanistan. The Taliban had been welcomed there because they replaced chaos and corruption with order. Over the next 2 years, the Taliban fought fiercely against rival factions, swiftly seizing power over most of Afghanistan. Taliban leaders claimed that their aim was to set up a strictly Islamic state, unlike any other in the Muslim world. They followed an extreme interpretation of the Quran, Islamic law, and Afghan tribal laws and customs.
In Islam, there are a great respect for men and women, for the neighbors, for the non-Muslims, for the properties, and there are rules and regulations in Islam, even how to eat, how to sleep, how to walk, and how to talk with the people.
The Taliban violently opposed Western influences. Television sets were strung up on posts at the city gates. Chess, football, even kite flying were banned. And women were allowed outside only when wearing traditional full-length burqas. Movie theaters were closed and music was forbidden. Taliban officials ripped out offensive cassette tapes. Afghanistan was effectively closed off from most of the outside world. The Taliban then closed down girls' schools and sent female teachers home on religious grounds. During the Soviet occupation, education and employment for women had been on the rise. Now basic schooling was forbidden for girls. And any woman that challenged her new place in society was quickly punished. The Taliban leadership insisted their actions were just and necessary and based on Sharia, religious law of Islam. But a growing number of Muslims in Afghanistan, both women and men, disagreed with the Taliban's harsh interpretation of Islam.
I felt that I have no worth in this society. I cannot do anything for this society, and this society cannot do anything for me. They cannot accept me as a human being.
The Taliban was finally removed from power by a U.S.-led military coalition after the Taliban leadership was linked to the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001. A transitional government was set up. It included women and it made plans for a new constitution and free elections. Countries from around the world contributed money, and armed peacekeepers to rebuild the country and maintain order. But divisions and conflict continued in Afghanistan. Rivalries between ethnic groups and warlords threatened the country's stability. And the Taliban, having retreated to the mountains, continued to direct guerrilla raids against foreign peacekeepers and planned for the day when they might return to power.